Hey guys, welcome to this Football Manager 2020 Tactics video. It's a new system for you today, one I've created called Concerto. It's based around attacking, pressing football. We overload down the wings, look for that ball in behind and look to really stretch the pitch, utilising roll, movement and interaction. This is a 4-2-4. I've tested it for half a season with Everton. We lie top of the table after winning 15, drawing 2 and losing just once. I've also tested it for quite a long time now with Scarborough. We've only drawn one game, won every other game, and the football on display is excellent. In my Everton save, the games that were notable were a 3-0 win against Arsenal, Liverpool, 5-1 against Manchester United, 5-3 against Manchester City. It really is a big game system. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about in just a second as we look at some of the gameplay, but let me just explain how this video will work. We're going to split it into 3 sections. We'll start with shape and roles, where I try and describe how the system actually works and how everything comes together to form what you see in the match engine. We'll then move on to team and player instructions, just so you have an overview of what you're actually using. Then we'll have a user's guide where I'll explain what to look for in each role and how to actually use the system. Okay, let's see what this little puppy can do, shall we? While we continue to listen to some of that lovely classical music, before we jump into the system itself, a quick look at the results. As you can tell, absolutely bossed it in the first half of the season with Everton. Some amazing scorelines like winning away from home 4-0 against Newcastle, at home 5-3 against City, 5-1 against United, 3-0 against Liverpool, 3-0 against Arsenal and Chelsea. The list just goes on. We finished top of the table by Christmas, and yes, Liverpool have 2 games in hand, but an 11-point gap is really great to see. Keane's the top goal scorer. Digna's performed exceptionally well with 9 assists. Sidibe, the other fullback, has got 8 assists as well, so testament there to how important they are. Let's also take a look at my Scarborough side to see how this performed in the lower leagues. And we had much of the same. Loads of goals hitting the back of the net, performed exceptionally well away from home. This 5-0 away victory against Southend was just stunning. And we've only drawn 1 match. That was a 0-0 draw against Port Vale. Very frustrating game where we definitely should have come away winners. This is in League 2, by the way, so it does just go to show that you can still perform well with a system that relies a little bit on long shots as well as talented wingers. You can still do well in the lower leagues. Right, let's jump into the system itself and see how it actually works. Right guys, before I explain roles and shape to you, a quick explanation on why I created Concerto. I was getting a bit sick of playing the old plug and play systems. Nap's tactics are brilliant and I really enjoyed taking my wonder kids as far as I possibly could, which is what you can do with an overpowered system. It was about time I created my own and got back to the traditional way of playing FM. With the lockdown I found time, hence why the system's come about. Shape. So we're in a 4-2-4. You will notice that you'll end up attacking with almost a flat front 4 when you're in the very far reaches of the final third. The way that works is the advance forward works the channels, gets in behind. The false 9 pulls back, pulling defenders away to create that space, but he also picks up the ball deep and attacks himself or picks out a pass. Sometimes he may even take on a long shot. That depends on the type of player you've got, and that's what I love about the system. It works well with different types of players. The inverted winger's on attack duty because the false 9's pulling defenders away. The inverted winger can then attack the space to score some really lovely goals. You also find on attack duty, he arrives late in the box for the winger, whose job it is to cross the ball in, and at the far stick he gets quite a few headers and lovely looking volleys. Bernard is on winger on support because the wing back is on attack duty. His job is to overlap, create an overload down this right hand side, and because the advanced forward is getting in behind, he's also taking defenders with him, which makes a massive overload on the right side. Ergo, the crosses come in, that's where the goals come from. The advanced playmaker is on the right side for that reason as well. We want him, the passing maestro, to be on the side where the chances are generally going to be created. I've got the box-to-box midfielder because we want him shuttling backwards and forwards. He arrives late in the box to score some goals. He supports the advanced playmaker in his creativity, but he also supports the defence as well. The fullback is on support duty because we've got a lot going on with the inverted winger cutting inside, and while the false nine is on support, he doesn't drop that deep, so we need a little bit of cover on that side. Nothing special about the defenders nor the goalkeeper, they're there to do a job. That's essentially how the system, shape and movement works. It obviously goes much deeper than that, and you do need the right types of players to make this successful, but we'll jump onto that in just a second. Right, team instructions. We start with mentality. We are on attacking. You may think that's a little bit OTT when you consider what the shape's like, but it isn't. Attacking doesn't just mean that everybody's going to attack. That all comes down to their individual duties. Attacking is how many risks they're going to take, how direct they're going to be, how aggressive they're going to be. And this is a pressing system that relies heavily on movement and getting bodies forward. So that's why we've gone for the attacking mentality. In possession, we are fairly wide because we want to use the wings. That's where the overload happens, out wide, which is complemented by passing into space, overlapping both wings, focusing the play down the wings, and we play out from the back. You saw that in some of the early highlights at the start of the video. It really does create some cracking possession play, despite it not really being a possession orientated tactic. We're slightly more direct. You'll have seen some of the counter-attacks. That's why we wouldn't get those balls in behind for the false nine and the advanced forward if it wasn't for that. We're in a little bit more of a higher tempo because it is a pressing system and we want to get those passes in quite quickly as well. We're crossing low because purely for the reason that I found the ball being hoofed over into the box just was not working. And we run at defence. That's to commit players onto us as we are attacking, which opens up space and helps with the movement. In transition, it's a counter press and counter attacking system where we distribute to the fullbacks and we throw it long. Very standard settings here, I'll be completely honest, inspired by Nap's system. And out of possession, we use the offside trap, which is a no-brainer. It's a higher defensive line, not an extremely high defensive line. The reason for that is I tried it pushed further up because I felt that would help with the pressing system, but it didn't. We just ended up with too many balls in behind. The higher line works very nicely. What you'll notice is the defenders are just in the right position so that when the opposition hit the ball long, they can get their head on it and wing back possession. We defend narrow and just the usual settings you would expect with this type of system where we are pressing so aggressively. There's very few player instructions involved here. The advanced forward has none. The false nine, we want him tackling harder and marking tighter because with them being so attacking with the roles and the positions on the pitch, we need to make sure they're doing a defensive job. Likewise on the left wing, likewise on the right wing. Nothing else to it. No, we're not telling people to work the ball into the box and we're not telling people to shoot less often, other than if it's within their role, of course. I'm just flicking through these here to show you that actually we're not really setting that many player instructions. You know, the fullback has absolutely none, the wing back has absolutely none, and again, on the centre backs, we pass it shorter because I found they were giving away possession a little bit and I wanted them to move it to the nearest playmaker that was available, whether that be the false nine dropping deep or the advanced playmaker. We closed down less. Again, I found that they stepped out from their position, which meant that players could get in behind. Nothing else of note there with the instructions. It's really, really simple, guys. The set pieces I won't show you because they are downloaded. I got those as part of one of Nap's systems just because I felt like Nap's set pieces work very well for me and I'm crap with setting up set pieces. Right, guys, let's jump on to section number 3. Right guys, the final section, the user guide. Before we jump into it, if you're new around here, please do subscribe, click the bell button to get notified when new videos go live, and if you enjoyed this one, give us a thumbs up. It massively helps the channel and I'd appreciate it. Jump in the comments and let us know what you think of the system as well. But on that, please don't jump in then go, oh, the system's shit, when you've tried it for one game, haven't loaded it in pre-season, don't know what training is, haven't done the usual man management stuff, and probably don't even have suitable players. This system does need suitable players or it will not work. And on that, I'll try and explain what you should be looking for. So the advanced forward, we'll do this, by the way, by clicking on the role and look at the green attributes. The blue ones aren't as important, and you'll obviously have your own attributes that maybe are needed, but the green ones are the important attributes we need to be looking at. It needs to be fast, it needs to be able to dribble, finish, good composure, good technique, and good off the ball movement. I've noticed this in my Scarborough save with Fonseca instead of Williams. Williams a better striker, but Fonseca's faster in behind, he can dribble, and he's a really good finisher. So he actually naturally does better in the advanced forward role, and it really does apply to this system. The false nine needs to be able to create his own chances, so he needs to make good decisions, good off the ball movement, but he also needs to have good vision and good passing and good technique, because he will pick those passes out after dropping deep. Really, acceleration and agility are massively important. He's going to be dribbling the ball, so he needs to be able to take on his man, so naturally good dribbling will be really good for him as well. The inverted wing is an interesting one. There's not that many green attributes in there, but quite a few blue ones. Either way, it needs to be fast. He needs to be able to pass the ball and he needs to be able to dribble. They're the most important assets of his game, along with off the ball movement. If he can shoot from range, that will massively aid his goals as well. And good crossing is a massive bonus. The winger needs to be able to cross, that's a must. Needs to be good technique, very fast play, good off the ball. And if he's got good flair, that also helps in big games. The advanced playmaker is a difficult one to fill because he needs a lot of different roles, and a lot of different attributes. This guy doesn't need to be as good physically as what the box-to-box midfielder does, but he definitely needs to be a maestro. Passing, technique, good decisions, good off the ball movement and vision. Just think of the sort of Iniesta type player, someone who's going to be starting the playoff and picking out the passes and opening up space. The box-to-box midfielder is an interesting role because there's a lot of blue attributes which aren't as important, but very few green ones. So you're looking for stamina, off the ball, teamwork, work rate, passing and tackling. I actually personally value a more rounded midfielder in this role. Someone who can shoot from range, someone who can dribble, someone who can drive forward with the ball. Think of Yaya Toure type player. Yes, he needs to defend, but he arrives late in the box and creates chances. The fullback and the wingback are both very similar roles. They need to be fast, dribble with the ball, cross, good technique. They're going to do a little bit of everything. So stamina will be important as well because they'll be up and down that wing like a train. Defenders and goalkeepers, we're not going to look at them because it's such standard normal attributes, but for your centre backs, don't buy players who are too slow. I'd maybe look for around 11 or 12 pace acceleration if you can do, just to avoid those balls in behind if they do occur. Well, that covers it for the roles, guys. Let's have a look at a couple of quick tips on what you can do to make this tactic work better for you. First of all, mentality. Don't adjust that on a game-by-game basis. It is fine at attacking. The only reason you should adjust your mentality on this tactic is if you're defending a lead in maybe the last 10 minutes or so. You can switch it to cautious. The other thing you could do if you want to, although it's not necessary, is regroup and hold shape. That'll help with those balls in behind and over the top, but only do that at the end of a game. If you are struggling to break teams down, you can always push the defensive line up one more notch and you can tell your team to hit early crosses. It is a dominant tactic out wide, so hitting early crosses will just help pump the ball into the box more often, ergo creating more chances, more bobbled balls. If you feel like the system's having too many long shots and you've maybe got 10 shots but only one's on target and you're getting a bit worried that you're not going to be scoring because of that, you could always work the ball into the box. Wouldn't recommend it personally. I found that it does create too much dilly-dallying around on the ball, but if it's an issue in a specific match, you could always try that. The other thing to look out for is if the opposition are playing two defensive midfielders. Check the scout report at the start of the game before you even get into the match engine. If they are playing two DMCs, I would probably suggest changing system. I generally use my Atlanta tactic in this scenario, which I will link in the description. And going back onto breaking the team down again, one of the most important things you can do is to use substitutions and use good man management with shouts and with team talks. I find get creative works quite well. It doesn't generally bring the team's morale down too much, but it does give them a little bit of a boost. Also, praising a team if you're in front gives them a little bit of an extra push on. I'd only demand more if the team don't look too nervous though, because that can create problems. And then substitutions are huge. I find in the 60th minute, if I switch one of my strikers or a winger or the advanced playmaker, we generally do reasonably well in the last 30 minutes, especially with the strikers, because another player coming on can create havoc as the opposition don't allow for his instructions. And the other thing you should really do is ease off tackles mid-match if anyone gets booked. Don't do this and you really run the risk of getting red cards. Trust me, I've seen it happen. Right guys, that's about it. Just bear in mind you do need to download the system. Yes, you've seen the instructions and how everything works, but the set pieces are vital and I can't go through all of them for you. So just download the tactic to make sure you've got the same one as I am playing. There'll be 2 links, only one in the description. Click that, it'll take you to the footballmanagerstory.com website. Scroll to the bottom of that page that's linked and there'll be 2 systems. One for the inverted winger on the left side, one for the inverted winger on the right side. Bear in mind, inverted winger on the left side needs to be right-footed. If it's on the right side, it needs to be left-footed. The winger needs to be footed on the side that he plays. So it's quite important. And also, the whole orientation of the tactic switches with the winger's position. So if the inverted winger is on the right side, we have to switch the false 9, the box-to-box midfielder, the wing-back's duties. It all changes around. So make sure that you download both systems so you have the option based on the type of players you have in your tactic. Like I said, it's really important to get the right types of players. Right, let's leave it there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video and you do find it useful, give us a thumbs up. Massively appreciate that. And I shall see you with the next tactical upload. If you want some easy watching, you can always watch our Sea Dogs Can Fly series. That's on this YouTube channel. I'll link it up there now. And yeah, we play this tactic within it, so you'll get to see how I manage the tactic as I go along in a lower league season. Right guys, I'll see you later.